Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MyCom podcast. I'm Seun Okimbaloye. Nigeria stands today at a very defining point, from rising insecurity to economic situation in the country to growing public frustration and the intense political maneuvering ahead of the 2027 elections. The questions confronting the nation are as urgent as they are consequential. On this episode of the MyCom podcast, we sit down with one of Nigeria's most outspoken and controversial political voices, a former Minister of Youth and Sport, Solomon Dalung. Never one to shy away from difficult conversations, Dalung weighs in today on the state of the nation, the fight against terrorism and banditry, the performance of the Tinubu administration, the realignment of political forces ahead of the next general election, and whether Nigeria's democracy is delivering for its people, from power politics and governance to security and the future of our country. Welcome, everyone, to the MyCom podcast, and let's get into it. Welcome to the MyCom podcast.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
I appreciate it. How is it going? I know that you and your political parties are really gearing up for the election, right?
Yeah, we've already produced a candidate and we are preparing for rolling out when the drums will be rolled out by INEC.
You see a very good member of ADC?
Indeed.
Even with all of the controversies around the primaries.
You see, the controversies are expected because when we went into the coalition, and on day one, we all took off that it was not going to be about any individual interest, about country and democracy. I am keeping to that oath because I'm aware that things like this as a politician definitely arise. So anybody who was pretending that this issue of the controversies were not going to come, I mean, he was not sincere. But my disappointment is that most of those who took oath on day one in the coalition has broken their vow.
The vow to stick with the coalition and wait until whatever happens, they will agree.
To stick with the coalition and focus on Nigeria and democracy and not individual interest. So what has now destabilized the coalition is personal ambition taking preeminence over our early commitment.
So the coalition is dead.
Of course, the coalition as it is now is not dead, but it is not as formidable as it were.
What do you mean it's not dead?
It's not dead because
the political parties in their different segments are there. So what was supposed to be the coalition has even split into more political parties. The coalition is everybody coming together from the different political parties they came from. Peter Obi from Labour Party, Atiku from PDP, and Senator Inaya Baribe from Labour, and the rest of them came together. That was when they said they wanted to form coalition. But it is right now. The coalition is broken, isn't it?
It's not dead because those who left has even fed the coalition to be stable. Because they moved into it with their supporters. And when they were leaving, they left them behind. We still have people who followed these prominent politicians into the coalition still in ADC. So the ADC is a beneficiary of the coalition.
So ADC is still the coalition?
Yes. Yes.
Are you proud of the primaries that produced Atiku Abubakar?
Not at all. I'm not proud of it because, I mean, it fell beyond my expectation. But of course, that is what we have for now.
And is it good enough?
It's not good enough because I expected that we would have done much, much better than this. Because I was involved, I was an electoral officer. So I witnessed some of these things that happen. And of course, we should have outgrown it by this stage because 27 years 26, 27 years of our democracy. I mean, we should not be talking about rigging of primaries, falsification of results. I mean, we should have gone far, far beyond this. So it means our democracy is not growing at all.
But in the light of what has happened, how do you think that Nigerians can trust a party that says you want to change things while you are now being accused of the one producing a candidate that is a product of a controversial primaries that is said to be a fraudulent primaries?
Well, despite what happened in the ADC is far, far better than what happened in other political parties. Because in ADC, there was semblance of democracy because people went out to vote. The complaints is that there were distortion and manipulations of figures that were rolled out. And those aggrieved felt that there were even no opportunities for them to ventilate these grievances. But you see, worst thing happens in other political parties. So it means, even as it is, the ADC still had a better standard presented to Nigerians.
Albeit a very fraudulent primaries.
Well, I don't want to accept the word fraudulent, but to me...
Those are not my words.
Yeah.
Those are the words of those who participated in the process.
Yeah.
They say it's fraud with irregularities.
But
Amechi rejected it.
Yeah.
Ayatollah rejected
Yeah.
it. What more do you want as evidence to the fact that it was a fraudulent primaries?
Of course, everybody uses his own expression to define situation. For me, it fell below standard.
So you have a candidate that falls below standard.
Yes, it fell below standard of our democracy.
That's right.
As it is.
So your candidate's process of bringing him out fell below standard.
The standard we should set for ourselves should have been more than this.
Did you think that Atiku was going to win the primaries?
From day one? Mm-hmm. Not at all.
Who did you think would have emerged? And now it's done, but I mean, you can now express your mind about, in the initial stage, who were you thinking may have been the candidate of the party? If you didn't think
for me, I was going with the sentiment of zoning. So I thought that was going to play out. Despite the fact that I know Atiku is a formidable force in the ADC and an experienced politician. But I was more in tune with the sentiment of zoning the presidency to the south. But obviously, from the results, it did appear to some of us that our thoughts are not aligned with what Nigerians are thinking.
So you thought Peter Obi was going to be the candidate?
I was thinking anybody from the south, not actually a person, but I was thinking anybody from the south.
Are you disappointed with Peter Obi leaving ADC?
Using the word disappointment will be very harsh, but I'm not satisfied with whatever reasons he advanced to leave the ADC in view of what Nigerians are going through. Because for me, those who are presenting themselves as presidential candidates are not better than us. We also sacrifice our own personal ambition to support. So why won't people be selfless enough to support? Let us get out of this situation before we redefine our situation.
With the way things are, there are those who say, as it is right now, analysts have come to the conclusion that you are in fact giving Bola Tinubu a straighter, an easier, and a more convenient path to victory in 2027.
That is delusional. Where we are now is we've returned to the First Republic politics.
Which is?
Every region has its own political party.
That's what it's looking like now.
This is what it is not looking like.
So,
ADC is predominant now a northern political party. The NDC, southeast. PDP has been relegated to the south-south. APC has been relegated to the southwest. And in view of the convulsion resulting from insecurity, in fact, the president has a Herculean task to think he can muster enough votes that will be over 3 million.
In your estimation?
Yes. Yes. Because the North is going to come up with a block vote around Atiku. Because the insecurity, the frustration...
But why didn't they come out with block vote for him in 2023?
No, in 2023...
Because the North actually made Bola Tinubu president.
Right.
So why at that time they did not give Atiku...
There was a dummy of the Muslim ticket, which most northern Muslims believed Bola Tinubu. Now, after voting him, they realized that the worst ticket in Nigerian history is the Muslim ticket, because it has unleashed trauma and pains on them more than any ticket. So they've decided now to withdraw their ticket. So the 5.5 million votes that catapulted Tinubu into victory is already off. He's left with 2.5, which he will be struggling. The 2.5 is going to come from where? As it is now, it is the North Central, which is the Middle Belt, that is the battle zone, as it were in the First Republic.
Your state, for example, is now APC controlled. And you don't think that that will swing? Benue is APC controlled. Kwara is APC controlled. Taraba is APC controlled. So which of the states in North Central do you think will swing vote for Atiku?
All these governors that defected to APC went alone. They did not even move with the people. And their abysmal performances had also frustrated the people so much. In fact, Plateau had never been so fatal for defeat of an incumbent like it is now. So
because I understand now that Mutwang on the same table, former Senator Dalung, they're together with him. The national chairman of your party, Professor Nentawe, they are together. In fact, I saw the other day former Governor Jang, all of them, all the former governors, they're now cooperating. And you don't think that this political sort of arrangement is going to swing? I mean, there are those who say the most difficult North Central, if anyone is going to win in the opposition, is going to be Plateau. Because for the first time, you see an agreement of all the political forces in Plateau sitting on the table.
The primaries impulsion in APC on the Plateau had already shattered whatever assumption you are trying to put before the public space. Now they married.
I'm asking, is your state, and I'm analyzing with facts on the table. Do you disagree with those facts?
Completely.
Jang, Mutwang, Nentawe, Lalong, are they not sitting on the same table?
No. Jang is still in PDP. Mutfwang, Lalong, Nentawe, Gagdi, Maje are all in APC. But the primary elections have torn these people apart. So everybody is aggrieved. And these grievances will be reflected in how they will manage 2027. But Jang is still in PDP. And the PDP have candidates in Plateau because they have multiple candidates all over.
And that's just an example of one North Central state. Kwara is there, Nasarawa is there, and I'm just trying to figure out and ask you whether or not the political calculations that the opposition forces were leaning on is still very reasonable going into this election, considering the fact that you're up against a Bola Tinubu that is going to be vicious, that is going to it's taking everything so seriously. And in fact, you see that his political forces have started preparations ahead. It does look like the opposition is less serious and more, the person you are up against is more serious.
I don't see Tinubu as serious as you are presenting it. President Tinubu in 2027 is the most unserious person with all his strategies, because he is underestimating the convulsion that is coming in the party. And they have shielded him so much that he's living in a world of his own and being fed by videos produced from the social media as support. Tinubu's support, I will be very sincere with you, is not up to 14% in Nigeria. So
not up to 14%.
Not up to 14%.
By what estimation? Did you do a poll?
Let's take the states. Can you show me where Tinubu will win? That's none.
What about Lagos?
Lagos is going to be a battle zone between APC, NDC, ADC, and PDP.
That is Tinubu's home state.
It was defeated in 2023.
You think that can happen again?
Worse than what happened in 2023.
You think he has not learned his lessons?
Tinubu doesn't learn any lesson, because if he learns lessons, he should have been able to know that allowing insecurity to fester, hunger and frustration is designing your political grave as a politician.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Mike On Podcast. This podcast will return soon.
Still to come on the Mike On Podcast.
The major problem with insecurity is that government, right from even the PDP, weaponize insecurity for political gains. And they imagine it was something, after winning elections, they could manage it. But they realize that it's escalated beyond their capacity.
Make it a date with Shun Okenbaloy on Mike On Podcast every Saturday at 7 p.m. as he x-rays issues beyond the regular and dives deeper to depths that allow him bring you answers to questions on your mind. In this podcast room, everything points to accountability, and you are the boss. No one understands how to hold public figures to account like Shun Okenbaloy. Catch Mike On Podcast live this Saturday at 7 p.m. on YouTube, Instagram, and X.
Hey, come, vitamin D! Hey, I will get you vitamin A.
Hey, you're vitamin B1. I want you.
With nutrients such as vitamins B1, B6, D, and A, Nutri-Yo leaves you energetic and refreshed.
Nutri-Yo, my yogurt irresistible.
Available in 500 ml, 400 ml, and 125 ml packs just for you. A quality product of Seaway.
INEC has fixed the dates for the 2027 general elections. January 16, question is simple. Are you ready to vote? Here are the 3 critical steps every citizen must take.
Shey you know say INEC don begin to dey register people for voters card, and this registration wey dem do so na go be the last one wey dem go do before 2027 general election. INEC don begin to register people from on the 11th of May, and dem go close on the 10th of July 2026. If you know say you never register before, or you just clock 18 years, waka enter any INEC office wey dey near you, or you fit still visit us online wey be www.cvro.inecnigeria.org to pre-register. And when you do that one, you must enter INEC office where you're able to do your fingerprint and your photograph. If you relocate and you want vote for your new location, or your PVC got lost or damaged, no register afresh, just enter INEC online portal or enter any INEC office, apply for transfer or another PVC. My people, make una no waste time again. Register, make you fit vote. Now you're right. Now INEC they bring una this message. Now we they make una vote count. Now we they make our democracy stand gidigba.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Mike On Podcast. This podcast will return soon.
So the main offense that Tinubu would have said to have committed in the eyes of voters will be insecurity. You think that's one singular reason why he will not be voted?
Insecurity, untold hardship, mismanagement of the economy, corruption, unemployment. The only people from 2023 to now that had been transformed are Tinubu and people in his government. If you see them, they have changed. So if you are talking about the benefits of Tinubu's reform, it can be seen on them. Because in 2023, some of them were near corpses. But now, you can see them very strong. So we can see transformation on them. But Nigerians are so frustrated. Have you ever imagined what is happening in the Southwest? We are in Ibadan. In the heart of the Southwest, you could hear women coming out, anything APC, and beginning to shout, ole, ole. Have you seen the dismantling of their campaign in the Southwest? And do you know the role Ibadan plays in political history of this country? Those things happening in Ibadan, government should not ignore it, because it is going to take us through the same political path we have been in our history.
I mean, Plateau State have been on the receiving end of this kind of situation, insecurity. Now that we've seen it in Southwest. What do you think is the major problem?
The major problem with insecurity is that government, right from even the PDP, weaponize insecurity for political gains. And they imagine it was something, after winning elections, they could manage it. But they realized that it's escalated beyond their capacity. And even when they became determined to deal with it, they were ill-advised to allow it fester so that they can take political gains. And so it now grew into a complete criminal enterprise economy with multi-layer stakeholders. There are over about 5 or 6 stakeholders in this insecurity. And dealing with it will require a ruthless leader who is going to descend heavily on all these stakeholders and fix them up by providing accommodation for each of them in the appropriate correctional facilities. Otherwise, they are now too formidable to deal with, and they are well positioned and strategic.
You served in the Buhari administration, and school abductions and insecurity was a major concern under that administration. Is there any lesson learned?
Not at all. No lesson learned by anybody.
What would you say is the major lessons that have been taken away under the Buhari administration to at least give the nation an understanding that this was a problem and how the way to
if Buhari's government had learned any lesson, the first school abduction was Chibok. And so from Chibok, there would have been improvement from the way schools are protected and managed.
But there was a school,
but we still have
safe school initiative that was created.
Well, it was created on paper for those who will use it to loot the treasury. There was nothing at all reflecting on the protection of schools. So no lesson learned at all, because if in 2026 we still have mass abduction of school children in Nigeria, to the point that a 5-year-old girl was telling the mother, I will not go to school because they will kidnap me. At that age, now, can you imagine the type of leaders we are producing in this country?
Are you not one of those kind of leaders?
I am. I have on so many occasions admitted that I am involved. And I still said it, that I regretted being part of those who created a political party that had put Nigeria in this situation. So because this wasn't...
You regret being part of APC?
Why? Oh, completely. In fact, every day if I reflect on my role, that what is happening to Nigerians, some of us are part of it, it pains me much.
So it's a failure of some of you in the political class?
Why not? Admit it.
You're a failure.
Failure, because we cannot protect Nigerians.
If you have opportunity to write it, what would you do?
Oh, differently. Differently. If I have the opportunity to deal with these issues, differently, because...
What would you do?
Oh, insecurity. First, you have to deal with insecurity. And what will I do? First, I will involve communities. You can't plan security for somebody without involving him. It's just like shaving somebody's head in his absence. Communities must be engaged in their security. That's number one. Number two, I will reorganize the security architecture. Number three, I will use modern technology of drones to track these criminals. Number four, I will enlarge the size of both, recruit so many young Nigerians, give them professional training to own their country and fight and die for their country. If I tackle the issue of insecurity, we can take it along with transformation to make sure that the economy is addressed, unemployment is addressed, the issue of hunger and poverty will be taken along. But you can't do this without dealing with insecurity.
How do you think Nigerians should listen to the likes of yourself, who have once preached a party you said is a failure, and who said that the political class has failed the Nigerian people. Why should the average Nigerians listen to people like you? Again, you are one of you've been around forever, some of you.
Not in politics, not forever. I only came into the political stage in 2015, so I've not been there forever.
I'm saying some of you have been around forever.
You see,
and you are not leaving the stage for fresh heads, fresh hands to be able to run their affairs. Why should Nigerians listen to to those of you in ADC, APC, NDC, and the rest?
Nigerians in 2027 should evaluate those who presented themselves for election and elect people based on merit and not on political parties. Because it is not everybody that has presented himself that is as incompetent, as bad as the system is. There are quite good people around that they are victims of the very system that we found ourselves. And I want to remind you what Buhari said. When we went to take over the villa in 2015, after going round and we were about to leave, Buhari looked back and said, Che Guevara. I said, sir. He said, this place does not look like where the president of Nigeria should live. And I said, why? He said, it's too serene and isolated from Nigeria because anybody living here might not believe what is happening in Nigeria. And he said, I was not going to live there. But unfortunately, he ended up living there, and what he feared turned out to be his Waterloo.
Do you think Buhari was a failure?
Buhari did not succeed. Because all the 4 points agenda he campaigned on, none of them he achieved. So you score a student based on the marking scheme. And if he did not perform in all...
So Buhari failed in your estimation?
Yeah. No, Buhari did not meet the expectation of Nigerians.
Are you disappointed in that? Because you are one of those who screamed to the top
of the I am disappointed because what we promised Nigerians, we did not give them. So how can I be satisfied?
Does that frustrate you in any way?
Oh, so indeed. Every day, when I wake up every day, I reflect on what is happening and how we mobilize Nigerians for a better future and how Nigerians invested in the Buhari's presidency and APC and where we are today. I live a life of regret.
Every day?
Yeah.
Remembering what happened, what you promised, and what was delivered.
What was delivered and what is even happening now. Because if we had not come in 2015, this current situation where they are now kidnapping school children, kidnapping Nigerians, displacing people, like in Plateau, let me tell you something, a different dimension to it. If you are traveling on the roads of Plateau today, you have to be very watchful because you may run into a community displaced by terrorists that will, out of anger, occupy the highways and begin to attack people. That is how bad it has gone. Is it
that bad in Plateau?
Yeah.
But you still go there?
Yes, why not? Why not?
If you look at the situation, you said Nigerians should look at those who are on the ballot on the basis of merit.
Yes.
Who do you think out of these people merits Nigerians' votes?
Well, that will be determined.
This is going to be on record.
Yes.
So remember that you are telling Nigerians, because in another 4 years, you will not be able to come out. It might be shameful to come out to say, oh, I failed again. So think carefully. Out of these people that are out, who do you think deserve Nigerians by merit?
I pass the button back on Nigerians because they know every one of them. They know them. They know their pedigree. They know their experiences. They know how they have served. Let them weigh them on the balance.
You cannot vouch for Atiku Abubakar who's on.
It's not about vouching now, because I have done that in the past. But I am not going to now take responsibility again of telling Nigerians, oh, this is the Messiah, and it will turn out to be different. Nigerians should now be allowed to decide.
You said that Buhari was a Messiah one time ago.
I did say so.
But now it turned out to... But now you are with the ADC. Can Nigerians trust the ADC to deliver on the things that you have criticized the Bola Tinubu and the APC for?
The ADC has a more better approach to the challenges than any of the political parties. Because if you look at the reviewed manifesto of the ADC, it provides accountability that every public office holder should be held accountable. The manifesto has also been reviewed to reflect manifestos of political parties since 1960 to date. So it's more comprehensive. There's a more comprehensive social contract that is contemporary in ADC compared to other political parties.
If you were to look at it, what would you say that the Nigerian people should look forward to in the ADC? That will be a departure. And Atiku Abubakar is flying the flag of the party.
Yes. You see, Atiku Abubakar, above all people that have been presented, is more experienced. He has been a vice president of this country, so he knows the country better. Let me tell you our challenges. The worst person to be met a Nigerian president is a former governor, because he is intoxicated with power of a subnational executive, where he has pocketed the local government, he has pocketed the state house of assembly, he has pocketed everybody. So if such a person transforms into a president, his knowledge of Nigeria is microscopic. And when he comes to the center, he behaves like he is a governor of a state, not of a country of over 500 and something ethnic nationalities. So that is the challenge number one. So Atiku has an advantage, having been a vice president and presided over this country. He has also come in contact with some of the challenges we are currently facing. So he will be able to deal with it better than every other person that is on the ballot.
But in the event that Atiku loses in this election, what would you do?
If Atiku loses the election as a Democrat, we will accept the verdict of the election if the election as it is free, fair, and transparent.
What is your assessment of the possibility of former President Goodluck Jonathan getting on the ballot?
Well, I think Jonathan would have been the bride of this particular transition if he had indicated interest earlier. But coming on the ballot belated, in my candid opinion, I think the former president should preserve his image, integrity, good name, and remain an elder statesman and a global personality that he is known for. Because if he joined this race, he will be like an angel who came invited from heaven to come and dance in the mud, and you will not expect him to return to heaven with clean clothes.
Is there anyone afraid of Jonathan?
For now, I don't think that Jonathan is a challenge.
Not to Tinubu?
No.
Not to Peter Obi?
No.
Not to Atiku?
No.
It's going to be a featherweight.
Indeed, that's what he will reduce himself to.
You'd once said that Mr. Wale Edun is a man of integrity, the former Minister of Finance, and he became a misfit within President Bola Tinubu's political arrangement. That's a very strong indictment.
Of course, and I stand by it.
You think that he's a good man, too good to be in Bola Tinubu's cabinet?
Wale Edun, my friend, is too good to be associated with this administration. And he's going to live so many years with the bitter experiences of associating himself with this government, because he will be explaining these things maybe to his grave.
So it's going to be, you think that being a minister in Bola Tinubu's cabinet is going to be a lasting, sad memory for him?
For him, yes. Being the very good gentleman, I know, and a man of integrity and reputation.
But he's been with Bola Tinubu for years, for ages.
They've been together. Like you see, again, you'll come back to this issue. They've been together. He has been managing his personal finances. And managing the personal finances of Tinubu is different from managing the economy of Nigeria. So when faced with the obvious reality of managing the economy of Nigeria and situations were not looking like in tandem with regulations and law, I mean, he was first with his integrity. So he had to choose his integrity, posterity, how will he be remembered, and continuing.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Mike On Podcast. This podcast will return soon.
Still to come on the Mike On Podcast.
If President Tinubu wins 2027 election, what would a Tinubu second term realistically mean for Nigerians?
Tinubu has nothing to offer as a president. Therefore, winning in 2027 will just throw this country into chaos.
Mike On Podcast on Instagram at the Mike On Podcast. Follow Mike On Podcast on Facebook at the Mike On Podcast.
Life's too short to miss out on the fun. Grab a Nutri-Choco and unlock the child in you. Experience the thrill of great taste. Nutri-Choco, nourishing fun, chocolatey taste. Embrace your inner child with Nutri-Choco, tasty chocolate drink. A quality product from Seaway.
Shey you know say INEC don begin to dey register people for voters card, and this registration wey dem do so na go be the last one wey dem go do before 2027 general election. INEC don begin to register people from on the 11th of May, and dem go close on the 10th of July 2026. If you know say you never register before, or you just clock 18 years, waka enter any INEC office wey dey near you, or you fit still visit us online wey be www.cvro.inecnigeria.org to pre-register. And when you do that one, you must enter INEC office where you're able to do your fingerprint and your photograph. If you relocate and you want vote for your new location, or your PVC don lost or damaged, no register afresh, just enter INEC online portal or enter any INEC office, apply for transfer or another PVC. My people, make una no waste time again. Register, make you fit vote. Now you're right. Now INEC they bring una this message. Now we they make una vote count. Now we they make our democracy stand gidigba.
Follow Mike On Podcast on Instagram at the Mike On Podcast. Follow Mike On Podcast on Facebook at the Mike On Podcast.
Mike On Podcast for the independent mind.
You said that Malam El-Rufai made a strategic political mistake, that's how you describe it, by voluntarily submitting himself to authorities rather than resisting arrest. In practical terms, what exactly are you saying? You are a lawyer. Are you saying that he should have resisted arrest? That in itself is an offense.
He has no business leaving Egypt to come to Nigeria because he had enough information about what will happen if he comes. And like I said, no comrade surrender to an arrest. It's a principle of our orientation. Because if you surrender to arrest, you will be humiliated. There is a myth around the camaraderie spirit. So when you now demystify it and surrender, it's a sign of weakness. So the struggle requires that you sustain the defiance and resistance spirit, even in arrest.
Even when you are asked to come and explain alleged corruption issues in the administration that it was in 8 years, and even in the utterances that was made, as a lawyer, you think that is the right path to tread?
Charges can be fabricated on anybody at any time.
So you think that all of these charges against El-Rufai are trumped
They
up
remain
charges?
mere allegations and trump up until proof. We await them to prove. And I think from the way they have so far conducted the prosecution, it is evidence that they are still scouting for evidence to ground the charges. I have never seen it in my life as a lawyer where a person is arrested before they now begin to go around looking for the offense he committed.
Is that the case with El-Rufai?
Why not? Because even when the DSS has not invited him, interrogated him, they file charges. They file charges. I've never seen such a thing.
So you think El-Rufai is being prosecuted rather than being, is being persecuted rather than being prosecuted?
I tend to go with that because the conduct of the prosecution now suggested persecution and not prosecution. Why do I say this? All the offenses is accused of available offenses. But you can see the manipulation of the bail processes. He has gotten about 3 or 4 bails granted by court.
Mm-hmm.
And all those bails had conditions that cannot be fulfilled. So there is a deliberate intention of having him incarcerated until this transition is over. Because one of the persons that Bola Tinubu feared most is El-Rufai. And why did I say this? El-Rufai brought Tinubu. Minus El-Rufai, Tinubu would have not even been accepted by the North in 2023. He started the campaign of presidency going to the South. And then when Buhari now was said to have told people that go and vote Ahmad Lawan, it was El-Rufai who knew Buhari very well that if you confront Buhari with something like that, he will deny it. He mobilized the 5 northern governors and brought them to Buhari and said, we heard that you said we should go and vote Ahmad. And Buhari said, no, I am a Democrat. Go and allow the people to choose. And he came back and mobilized the governors to support Tinubu. So the Machiavellian theory that, the prince feared much that person who had the capacity to outshine the prince and who created him. El-Rufai created Tinubu. Remove El-Rufai, Tinubu would have not won 2023. He was everywhere. He was even his campaign director. He was in Chatham House speaking for him. So Tinubu knew the capacity of El-Rufai very well. And then the best they can do is to have him incarcerated, alternating him from one court to the other, from magistrate court to Sharia court. They will go to one village court, even will go to Emir's court. They will keep doing this and granting bails. So before we know, we'll have 10 or 15 bail applications granted. None of the conditions can be met until after 2027.
How do you describe that? Betrayal?
Well, it's monumental. It's monumental. It's least expected, but of the person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But it's not strange. It's not strange. It has happened like that in history, where almost all those who created power were the first target to be eliminated, because it's only them that had the capacity to undo it. And El-Rufai came out categorically to launch a campaign of ending Tinubu's tenure by 2027. So, of course, the appropriate place to get him is to get him locked up.
If President Tinubu wins 2027 election, what would a Tinubu second term realistically mean for Nigerians?
Tinubu has nothing to offer as a president. Therefore, winning in 2027 will just throw this country into chaos. He has nothing to offer.
But the Tinubu people, the president and people in the APC will tell you that Tinubu is building a nation that is going to bring profit and gain to the Nigerian people, but the pain is just temporary.
Well, they have been saying this for over 3 years. Anybody building a house, we must be able to see, even if at foundational level, we must be able to see the foundation. But the story has been that he is building, there is even no foundation. They are running concurrently 3 years budget. Concurrently. It has never happened in the history of Nigeria. You can even hear what is happening in the National Assembly, where now they are beginning to be scared of moving on the streets of Nigeria because people will attack them. You can hear Oshimole shouting on top of his voice. You can hear Gagdi crying. So, which foundation is he building on? Do you build on a sandy foundation and continue to be rhetorical about it? Can they point at one single thing that suggests the foundation of building? I think the APC are bound to say those things they are saying. Because, there's an adage in my village that a man who has honey in his mouth doesn't talk too much.
You of the same academic training ground with the chairman of INEC, Professor
Josh Amupitan.
Josh Amupitan.
Yes, he was my lecturer and my colleague too.
And you spoke glowing about him, about his capacity. Do you still believe in his ability to deliver good, free, credible election in Nigeria?
No, he doesn't have the capacity.
He's your friend.
He's my friend.
He was your teacher.
He was my teacher.
He was your colleague.
He was my colleague.
So is he not the same man that you used to know?
He's the same man that I used to know. That's why I can be able to say that he will not be able to deliver.
Why?
Because he doesn't have the capacity.
What capacity does he lack?
You see, the capacity to deliver on election requires being very firm, being very transparent, being honest, and you must have a resistance spirit to be able to resist some of the gestures that will be advanced to you and hold on to. Amupitan don't have those qualities.
Amupitan is not that strong. He's not fair.
No, Amupitan, ordinarily to be fair to him, is a gentleman. He's somebody who has to hurt anybody. So in his spirit of trying to please everybody, he will fail.
So 2027 election will be a failure in your estimation?
No, it's a disaster.
Already?
Already.
Even when it does not happen?
It's a disaster.
Do you think it's going to be rigged? Is that what you sense? Or it's going to be manipulated? Or it's going to be failed logistical plant? Or what in what sense do you think it's going to be?
No, the 2027 election has already been rigged by the gale of defections of governors. Because those governors that were compelled to defect to APC was to provide a political platform where security and every other paraphernalia of power will be used to manipulate the election. But you know where the challenge will come from? The Nigerian people are alert. The Nigerian people are conscious. The Nigerian people are frustrated. So they are going to be very, very vigilant. Therefore, it is going to be we versus them.
What do you say to people, especially first-time voters or those who are not interested in the election process and who think, why should I go out? What would you be telling them about the 2027 elections?
That no Nigerian should be scared of going out to vote. 2027 is a defining moment. Every Nigerian who is of eligible age to vote should go out and vote anybody of his choice. And then allow the Nigerian people to protect their votes. In fact, anybody who fails to turn out in 2027 will be creating the greatest historical injustice. So we must all come out, discharge that burden, and leave us with the rest.
If you think that the election of 2027 is manipulated, is already rigged, and what is there any factor, either foreign, local, or any other means spiritual? What factors do you think can help Nigerians to avoid a rigged process?
One thing Nigerian leaders fail to understand is that God is a Nigerian.
Really?
At every turn of a terrible political event, the voice of God is heard. When June 12th was annulled, some of us thought this country was not going to survive. We heard the voice of God. Abacha, in this country, in his transmission bid, a lot of us have even packed our things to run out of this country because we were in Nadeko. We never lived that time. But we woke up one day with hearing the voice of God. Every Nigerian leader who abandoned the people to hardship, like what we are going through now. During Abacha, it was not hardship, but it was repression, tyranny. Now it's combined. Nigerians are suffering in the hands of terrorists. I mean, people, uninformed people who no single investment on them carry arms and kidnap people that had been invested into the forest, humiliating them, beheading them, and killing them. So my warning to the Nigerian government is that if we go at this level they are going, let them not underestimate what heaven will do. But Nigerians themselves are not ready to wait for heaven. They will start before heaven will join them.
Thank you so much, Comrade Solomon Dalung. Thank you so much indeed for your time on the Mic On podcast.
Seun, you have been doing so much for this country. I pray for good health.
Amen. Thank you so much indeed. Well, that's our conversation with the former Minister of Youth and Sport, Solomon Dalung. Well, in any conversation around the election, the state of the nation is about you and me and our country and how we can move it forward. And a part of this conversation you think might benefit any of your friends, your family members, or your colleagues, please do well to take and share. Also subscribe and follow. That way you are easily alerted when next any new episode comes up. Thanks so much everyone for watching. And I'm Seun Okimale. This is our beat on the Mic On podcast on this episode. Bye for now, everyone.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Mic On Podcast with Seun Okimbaloi. Mic On Podcast for the independent mind.